Another day, another video of a family on a flight and interactions with flight attendants and airport personnel over whether or not they deserve to be on that flight or should be taken off. Now, this is the story of a family from Huntington Beach, California. The name of the father is Brian Schear. They were flying from Maui to Los Angeles after a vacation. And as the story goes, he had bought enough seats for his entire family, and he has a 1-year-old, and that 1-year-old originally was planned to be a lap baby held by the mother. But in order to have the baby sit on a seat next to him, and otherwise the baby would just cry the whole time if it didn't have its own seat, he got his older son to fly the day earlier with the plan that they would then put the baby in the older son's seat that has now been vacated. And it just kind of escalated, even though he seems pretty calm. Take a look at this video.
So their policy is if you're not going to abide, you're going to have to get off the plane. You have to be.
Well, then they can remove me off the plane.
You and your whole family.
So then it's going to be a federal offense, and then you and your wife will be in jail, and your kids will be.
Okay. So my kid, so my wife's, we're going to be in jail, and my kids are going to be what?
It's a federal offense if you don't abide by.
I bought that seat.
Okay, I understand it's for Mason. Mason's not here.
Right.
So you still.
Right. I paid. I got him a ticket on another flight so that my son would have a seat. And you're saying you're gonna give that away to someone else that when I paid for that seat, that's not right.
I understand, but that Mason's not here, so the seat. So
you need to do what's right. Yeah. I bought the seat, and you need to just leave us alone.
Yeah. So Mason's not here, so Mason cannot. Is the one that owns the seat.
No, I paid for the seat. I bought the seat. You can look and see. Doesn't matter. It's my son.
So it moved on from there. He is keeping his cool, trying to explain the situation, as is whoever that is, someone from the airline. And then Jenna shows up. Jenna seems to be kind of a supervisor there to introduce herself and make the situation better. Whether that happened or not, judge for yourself. Take a look.
I know you guys are frustrated. Hi, I'm sorry. I already know the situation. I've heard your guys' sin. I know the man. Other than what's going on, is there anything else I can do? I know you guys are frustrated now. Basically what it comes down to is not adult rule, it's FAA because he's 2 and under.
Okay, I got a solution. He can sit in her lap.
Right.
Okay, and then we can take off, and then we can put him back in the car seat. That's what FAA rules are.
No,
the bottom line
with him being, no they're not. We're pulling him up right now. With him being 2, he cannot sit in the car seat. That's the purpose of infant arms. He has to stay in your arms the whole time.
All right. Another one of these videos, what do you think?
Okay, there's a lot of confusing things going on in this video. One, Delta's website does not recommend you hold a child in your lap the whole time. That can be dangerous if you need to use your arms for whatever reason, an emergency situation. And Jenna was wrong about the FAA regulation. However, that child wasn't 2, so that's also wrong information. It's very confusing.
Yes, there's a lot going on. I reached out to Brian, he did not respond by the time we shot, but here's the rule on having a child on board. If your child is under 25 months, so anywhere after 4 months and over, that child can be in your lap. And if that child's in your lap, you need to just print another boarding pass with that child's name on it. You sit there, it says INF on the boarding pass, you sit there with the child.
Is this the FAA rule or the Delta rule?
This is the FAA rules, is that if a child's under 25 months, it can either be in your lap or in an official airline car seat. Now, he posted photos that both his children had those official car seats. That said, he thought that he could not tell anyone, and since he bought his 18-year-old son Mason's seat, he could take his 1-year-old and put his 1-year-old in that seat. That violates FAA regulations. If you sit in that seat, if you have a seat on the plane, it better be under your name.
Right. Oh, because the boarding pass was in Mason's name, not the 1-year-old's name.
Yes.
Right. Because, well, I mean, I looked into this too. Delta doesn't allow you to transfer tickets at all. So They would have to cancel that and then buy another one if they expected to use that. However, I don't think, I mean, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. But on the other side of that, Delta shouldn't have been acting like that. Delta shouldn't have given them wrong information from the FAA and threatened to have their children thrown into foster care because of this. That was too aggressive.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think the tactics are way too aggressive. The seat was purchased. I understand the issue with the boarding pass, but provide that information, not false information. And then let's take recourse to either remunerate me for the ticket that I purchased or arrange, something has to be arranged within the guidelines and not telling me that if that, I can go to jail and that my wife can go to jail, who's not even in the shot, right?
Yeah.
You don't know where she's sitting. Like,
She's
you don't know.
right across from him filming, but yeah.
It's ridiculous. Is this a Western? Like, you're gonna go to jail, your family's going to jail, and your kids are going to
And it's a
foster care.
federal offense.
Is it?
It is.
That's what they said.
Technically, these things it's FAA regulations, so it's the F is that, it's federal. But
Sure.
it is definitely not the kind of high level plain things people are afraid of. It's tough because I think that the Delta person who is trying to communicate this, Jenna, has obviously gone to some kind of training where they tell you to say things like, I understand what you're feeling. I'm trying to help you people out here. Let's find a solution. But then her solutions are not solutions.
Yeah.
Here's where
Your solution is get off now, or I am going to throw your children in foster care and your wife's going to jail.
here's where Brian Schear just lays a total burn on Jenna.
It's out of my hands now. I'm just letting you know from this point on, this plane will not go anywhere until you guys choose to. Now you can sit here and we can all just chill here. I'm just trying to help you. This is all I can do. It's only in my hands now.
Trying to help us would have been not overselling the flight and not trying to force us to get him out of that seat that I paid for and holding this whole plane up. It would have been a lot easier for you guys to just say, not have that standby come down and we could be on our way.
You don't have to be terrible.
Yeah, this is something that I think what Delta will find out. First is if he bought an additional ticket for Mason to go earlier or changed Mason's flight. Because if you're changing the flight, you no longer have that seat. But I don't think that's the case since he seems to have had all the boarding
I think he bought
passes.
an extra ticket for Mason.
Right, but just for people out there who think that since Brett Erlich bought, if I have 2 kids, if I bought tickets for them, then any of my children can use those tickets. That's wrong. The boarding pass has to coincide with the person who's sitting there. That's
But if you make a minor offense like this, or if you maybe you don't understand, do you deserve to be screamed at like that? And
she wasn't
threatened?
screaming.
Sorry, that's not fair. Threatened like that and basically, strong-armed. Like if you don't get off now, this whole plane of people is going to be angry at you because we refuse to move.
Also, I don't care. Like, I'll play chicken with you. Don't give me solutions that aren't solutions. Like, well, we'll just sit here. Well, I guess we'll sit here until we figure it out. Like, it's a weak claim. I don't care that other people are inconvenienced by your policies or your inability to clearly explain what those policies are so we can expedite the flight. Don't put it on me.
Right.
I don't work here.
That's like how you bully kids in a class, I think. And it's just like, what are you doing?
So we
paid
can't go to
be
recess.
here. We're adults.
The end of the video is the father offering to do the original agreement, which is to have the baby sit in the lap. But by then, it's escalated so high in the mind of the Delta folks that they're already moving on, and he has to leave the plane. The family got up, got out of the plane, and they had to stay the night in Maui. And he points out, he's like, I don't have a car, I don't have a hotel. This is the last flight of the day. He spent $2,000 on that. What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think Delta's gonna do?
They're gonna release some kind of stupid non-apology and people are gonna get angry with them and then maybe something will happen, but probably not.
Really? Amberia?
I'm not sure. I mean, they're kind of in hot water this week. Didn't they have a pilot who hit someone trying to break up a flight or a fight in Atlanta?
Was that a Delta person?
Yes, that was a Delta pilot. So they need to do something. They need to issue a couple of statements.
What airline hasn't had this kind of incident?
Virgin America.
Virgin America.
Maybe Virgin.
My favorite, which is not around for much longer.
Yeah, Alaska Airlines now.
Sure. That's the same thing.
Have you guys had travel disasters? Like any kind of terrible situation even remotely resembling this?
No.
I've been really lucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you. I know a lot of flight attendants, and that's how I know all the FAA regulations. And they were telling me like, it's terrible. It is the worst, just because like there was one story that I just heard about someone who was clearly tweaking out on meth, who pulled out his junk in the middle of the flight, peed in a bottle, drank it, then got up, was escorted out, tried to talk to the police. The police told him, "Sir, we're talking, you can't go to the bathroom right now." Pulled down his pants, laid a number 2 in the middle of the San Francisco airport. This is the kind of stuff that flight attendants put up with a lot of the time. And I just hope, and everyone knows the kinds of things that travelers have to put up with a lot of the time. And I think these are the situations, I don't know, not necessarily this one. These are the situations where like everyone's kind of at the end of their rope.
Yeah.
Or someone at the wrong time has reached that level.
Of course.
And some people have been flying for dozens of years, and without certain pay raises. I know people who, as flight attendants, have, because of mergers, lost their pensions, just because that's how it shook out. And so their life is kind of messed up, and so they're trying to figure out what to do, and they thought they were gonna retire soon, and now they can't. And so there's a lot that people have to think through, but I do think in this situation, Delta needed to train Jenna way better, because she is not providing solutions.
Our reporter Jordan Chatton broke the Donna Brazil story. He was right, she just apologized for it. Help us get more reporters like that. You're the one responsible for that. Thank you, and let's do more right now at tytnetwork.com/go.